At the beginning of the film, a lady is seen performing magic, and people are seated around her. It seems like she is in another world in that magic. A human from another world was telling her who has murdered her? Later, two lawyers are shown performing their cases in the court. One of the lawyers was perfect and he didn't lose even a single case till today. The other lawyer is shown who often won cases. He was handling his friend's case and it seems difficult for him to win this. But his assistant helps him and wins this case. His friend gifts a stone statue to his assistant. He says this is a thinker statue and whenever you will be in trouble it will think with you. It also solves your problem. The assistant feels this strange and doesn't like this statue. Even then she takes it as a gift. Later, the perfect lawyer is shown. The man in front congratulates him because he has won this case. He says, "Yes, I have won, but I want to be like you. Because you also didn't lose any case till today." He says, "Yes, but do remember you can do anything you want to do to win the case." The girl is shown in the next scene got a gift from Phoenix's friend. This girl was named Mia and worried because of her case. Then she asked the statue to help her. After that, she begins to understand what she previously did not understand. This girl is shown in a flat and we hear someone's voice from behind. This is her voice saying, "I am working on this case for a long time. This is a complicated case and I feel like we are in trouble," and asks Phoenix, "I want to meet you in the morning. We will discuss this." In the next scene, Phoenix goes to meet Mia. He finds her dead. It means someone has killed her. He notices a girl there and he asks her, "Who are you?" He was about to call the ambulance. Meanwhile, some people arrive there. They come here for investigation. They see written Maya on paper with blood. The girl who was near Mia was also named Maya. The girl was arrested who was standing near Mia and she was her sister. She tells, "My father died when I was younger. I don't know where my mother is. I just had my sister," and Phoenix says, "Maya, don't worry, I will handle your case." Phoenix asks her, "Why did you go there?" She says, "I received my sister's call and she told me she had a statue which can think. You like toys, that's why she called me to her office." Phoenix starts working on this case. His friend says, "You will not win this case whatever you will do. Your opponent is Miles and he is the prosecutor who didn't lose any case." Phoenix is shown in the next scene meeting Miles. Phoenix and Miles were friends in childhood but their friendship broke due to some reason. Maya was also in the court and the friends were in front of each other to fight this case. The case starts and Miles calls the detective and he tells everyone there was written Maya with blood on the page. The blood was also of Mia. Phoenix asks the detective, "Are you sure that was Mia's blood? How can you say with a surety that Mia has written Maya's name with blood?" The detective says yes, she has written, but Phoenix says Mia was dead on spot. She hasn't time to write something. The prosecutor says the autopsy report you are talking about is outdated. The one I am talking about is advanced. According to it, she has the time to write something. Later, they present their next witness. He was a reporter from the front hotel and tells, "I was having lemon tea at night." Meanwhile, a weird girl arrives there and tells Maya has ended her sister Mia. Phoenix asks him how she ended her. He says she has ended her with a clock and Phoenix asks, "How do you know that is a clock? Because it looks like a statue?" Later, he asks the judge, "Is this looks like a clock or statue?" He says statue and Phoenix says, "This is the thing, only we can discover this is a clock while turning its head." Then how did he know this? Later, he asks the judge to investigate this. Maya tells, "My sister said while calling me this clock doesn't work." When the judge uses that clock it doesn't work properly. Phoenix says, "The witness, you were saying you heard its voice? Even this clock doesn't work properly. This is just a statue." And Phoenix asks the witness, "Where did he see this clock? How did you know this much about it?" "As far I know this clock sells at rare places." The witness doesn't understand anything and says, "I forget." The judge says, "Because he forgot so we can't say anything on this. Tell me something else about it if you want." And Phoenix asks the witness, "What were you doing there?" He says, "I was standing in the window because I heard the voice of a falling lamp." He says, "I saw the lamp fall there." And Phoenix says, "The lamp isn't visible from that distance. How did you know there is a lamp and it has fallen?" The prosecutor saves the witness and says, "Don't you remember you go there for wiretapping?" The witness says, "Yes, I go there for wiretapping and I saw the lamp there." Phoenix doesn't understand what should he do? Meanwhile, he hears the voice of the girl who died. She says you didn't lose, you have won. You don't need to be concerned because you have proof in your possession. He has a paper in your hand that was a receipt of the buying of the lamp. He tells the judge this lamp was bought few time before the murder. This man goes there for wiretapping before. How did he know there was a lamp in that office? He tells the judge he is saying he has seen the lamp but he was there to end Mia. There was noise in the court and Maya won this case. It means the witness has ended that girl's murder. Maya was innocent, who was Mia's sister. Maya makes noise when the witness was taken. She says, "Why you ended my sister? You tried to do something wrong with my mother many years ago. Now you have ended my sister." Phoenix says, "You were saying someone has done wrong with your mother 15 years ago. Tell me what happened to her and why were you saying this?" She tells this human who ended my sister is named Mr. Wright. He has written an article against my mother because she was supporting a man in a case. Phoenix starts studying this case and discovers the man who died, in this case, was his friend's father. His friend who was the prosecutor in the last case was his opponent Miles. He sleeps while studying this case but Maya wakes him. She asks him to watch TV and there was news of a murder. Miles is arrested in it. Phoenix goes to Miles immediately because he was his childhood friend. He wanted to help him. He says, "I will help you," but he says, "I don't need your help. There are many lawyers and I can give my case to anyone." He tries to make him understand but he didn't agree and leaves. When he was leaving, a man arrived and says him to handle Miles's case. But Phoenix says, "Miles doesn't want me to fight his case." The man says, "None can handle this better than you." Phoenix decides to handle his case. Phoenix goes to the lake with Maya where the murder happened. There was a camera that only clicks pictures when the word God is spoken. There was a couple in front capturing picture during the murder. Meanwhile, a huge creature awakes from the lake and this news of murder is shown. Phoenix goes to Miles and tells him, "I am investigating your case." He asks, "Why are you doing this?" Then a scene from Miles's childhood is shown. The collected money from students' lunchbox was stolen. The students of the class were blaming Phoenix. Miles was standing there and he has saved Phoenix. The boy is also shown in the class whose case was handled by Phoenix at the start. Phoenix tells Miles, "You helped me at that time and now I want to help you. In short, I want to handle this case." Phoenix asks Miles to tell me what has happened that night. "Have faith in me." Miles tells, "A man has called me that night. He said he will give me information about my father's case. We were in the boat. Meanwhile, the man stands up and took me to gunpoint. He wants to end me, then I bend and didn't remember what happened after it. The man died after it." Phoenix is shown with Maya in the next scene. He was telling Maya the prosecutor means my opponent, he didn't lose even a signal case in the past 40 years. He has taken a holiday for 40 years. The case starts and the girl witness is taken who was sitting near the lake to see the huge creature. She tells, "I have heard the voice of shooting fire at night." She says, "I have seen a man in the boat shooting a man." She says, "I heard that voice twice." She says, "While standing near Miles, I have seen the person who shot the bullet." Phoenix says, "You are saying you have seen that man, and if we see those pictures his face isn't clear. Why did you say that you have seen the man?" The girl was confused and says, "I was happy I will be a witness of a case." Later, she leaves from there. She didn't understand what to say. When the girl left, the judge asked the prosecutor, "Now what do you want to say?" He says, "There were two people in the boat, which means one died and the other ended his life." Phoenix says, "There is nothing like this, I have an objection." He says, "If a man died, it isn't important that another has ended him. The man who died, maybe he has ended himself." They all make noise that what is he saying? The judge says, "We can't refuse this new possibility." He says there will be a trial again in the court. Then Phoenix and Maya start studying the case. They investigate many things. They find a house and it was of the man whose boat was that. The man who was murdered was named Hammond. Phoenix's friend is shown in the next scene and makes his own creature. He blows air in it and tells the creature to appear in the water. "That was my creature. That wasn't a real creature, but it was artificial. It fell in the lake mistakenly and everyone felt there is a creature in the lake." The boat owner was presented in the court. He tells, "I also have heard the shooting voice at night." He tells I have seen this man means Miles. While saying I didn't think that I can murder anyone. When the boat owner was asked his name, he says I have some memory issues. I didn't remember my name. Phoenix says I again have to ask some questions from the boat's caretaker. Present him again, but it was discovered the caretaker of the boat has gone somewhere. They were shocked at it. That where he has gone? The hearing ends on that day and the detective says I will somehow find out the caretaker of the boat. Phoenix also moves to his house. It was near the lake and there they find a page of murder. The method of murder was written on it. Phoenix goes Miles and conversates with him about old things. The time when his father was murdered. His father was a lawyer and tells this lawyer was in his prosecution when he was handling a case. The one who is in front of Phoenix right now. When the man who didn't lose even a signal case discovered Miles's father is winning the case and he has got the evidence. He was there when Miles's father died. It is said that Miles's father died because of Miles. A man starts fighting with Miles's father. The kid was seeing someone is fighting with his father. He tries to save his father. During this, he shoots a bullet. They were talking and the girl Maya arrives. She tells them White has been murdered. Someone has ended him. Now only 3 days are left in the case for examination. Phoenix studies this case before the 3rd day. And discovers about Yanni Yogi. He also discovers his wife's name and finds out Yogi is the man who survived. We are talking about the case of Miles's father. This human is the caretaker of the boat. The case starts and the detective brings the caretaker of the boat. The caretaker tells I didn't want to leave but I had to because I have to bring food for my father. The caretaker tells his parents' name and Phoenix tells him this man is named Yanni Yogi. The man connected with the last case and judge says Yanni Yogi was connected with Miles's father's case. Phoenix says this is the same human but he is saying he doesn't remember his name. He says he has forgotten everything. Phoenix says to prove that your parents are named Polly and Yanni Yogi's husband was also named Polly. He says the names are the same and he is the human means Polly's husband. The prosecution says what are you saying this on a parent's name, this may be a coincidence. Phoenix makes the parrot stand in the witness box and asks it to tell something. What can it tell? It has remembered some words said at that time: date of birth, date of marriage, and date of death. This was the date of birth, marriage, and death of Polly. Here, Phoenix proves this. He says now I want to take the fingerprints of Yogi. But he says you can't take my fingerprints because of the use of chemicals. Phoenix says to Yogi you have done murder and ended Hammond. Because you wanted to take revenge from him for your previous case. Miles also confesses that I have murdered my father. He says that was a coincidence but was done by me. Phoenix wants to save Miles so he took another day from court. The judge says there is another case has opened and we want to examine it. They are given one more day. Miles was telling the judge the next day, my father was looking at the evidence. Meanwhile, a man started fighting with him because he discovered my father has court evidences. He tells he was Yanni Yogi and when I saw he is fighting with my father I threw the gun to save my father. But the bullet shot from the gun and my father died. Everyone was feeling his father died because of Miles. Phoenix says I have an objection because the bullet shot from the gun having 2 bullets. Only 2 bullets were used at that time. But Miles's father has shot only 1 bullet. Where the second bullet has gone? Judge asks him who was he according to you? For whom Miles's father's death will be useful and Phoenix uses his mind. He says Miles's father was a lawyer and the prosecutor was against him and he was losing the case and it affects him. His reputation will be ruined and he can only end Miles's father. He says the criminal has the bullet at this time. He asks his friend to give the metal detector to detect the bullet. He says to judge I want to check the prosecutor's body whether he has a bullet or not. Was he shot a bullet or not? Later, he was checked and the metal detector rings near his shoulder. It discovers when Miles shot to hit the prosecutor because the prosecutor does not want to lose the case, and Miles' father's death was significant in this regard. That's why he has ended Miles's father while shooting him. Everything was revealed and the boat's caretaker also tells he has ended Hammond. Because the case of Miles's father has compelled him to accept his mistake. To accept that he is the murderer even he didn't murder. Because of it, everyone started insulting him. They started pasting killer posters outside his house. That is why his wife committed suicide. My life was ruined because of it and I decided to take revenge on Hammond. Miles was released from this case. Like this, Phoenix has saved his friend's life. Their friend also reveals that the money stolen in class was stolen by me, not Phoenix. Phoenix and Miles start working on the case further. This time, they were doing work as friends. This movie concludes here. Thank you for your time.